Hey, 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 yeah, hey, what a time to be alive. I left them for dead, now I'm living right. No new friends, no new advice. That was high then, but we got bigger heights. We got bigger fish to fry. Bet on myself, then I roll the dice. Man, it ain't a gamble if you know you nice.
Welcome to the Doll and a Dream podcast. I'm your host, Ara Amen, the number one podcast in Dallas, Texas. And we are here today with my favorite couple, Tyler and Violet Kelkamp. Welcome.
Thanks for having us, man.
Ara.
Absolutely. So I kind of want to get into y'all's background to kind of start off. So Tyler and I, we actually went to high school together.
Oh, yeah.
So we go way back. But Violet, you grew up in Russia, right? Or you?
No.
Okay.
My family is from Russia.
Okay.
Moved from Russia to Colorado.
Okay.
So I'm first generation American.
How old were you when you moved here?
I was born.
Oh, you're
in
born
Colorado.
here.
Yep.
Okay. What is it like coming from Russian descent? Because you have a very interesting background.
It's definitely different. So growing up, it was very structured.
Okay.
Like, you have to listen to your parents. Like, you got to be obedient. Listen to your elders. Children were usually not really associated with the adults. So if the adults are hanging out together, the children are hanging out together. We're not hanging out with the adults.
Oh, interesting. So,
yeah.
so separate but equal,
very
right?
separate.
When has that never worked? Dumb question. Did your family drink a lot of vodka?
Yes.
I knew that was coming.
Not my mom.
Okay.
Not my mom. But my dad did drink, so.
Okay. And then
Not
what
vodka.
was it like growing up in Colorado? Where in Colorado?
Golden, Colorado. I loved it out there.
Okay.
So I kind of got both sides of Colorado. I grew up in Parker, where it's flat land.
Okay.
Hung out with like the country people.
Okay.
And then sophomore year, I actually moved. So we moved around a lot while I was growing up. My sophomore year, I ended up leaving the high school I was at in Parker and then moving to Golden, which was a smaller town, right by the mountains.
Okay.
So
What was Violet like in high school?
I think I was a nice kid, but I also my home life was something I was trying to run away from. So I think I like to be
Rebellious?
rebellious.
Okay.
Very rebellious. Whatever my parents said to do, I'd probably do the opposite.
Yeah. Did you party a lot?
Actually, not really.
So what type of rebellion? Would you just like staying out late, sneaking out, not doing
Like
homework?
sneaking out,
Okay.
not doing homework.
Okay.
But that's mostly because I couldn't focus. Like, doing homework was really frustrating.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it at home.
Got you.
That wasn't an environment where it's like peaceful
Yeah.
for me. So it just never really got done.
That's so funny. I feel like all three of us have like the almost ADHD like
Yes.
we cannot focus.
Yes, no, and that's so crazy because I didn't find out
Squirrel.
that I had ADHD until I was an adult. So
Yeah.
that like changed everything for me. I'm like, oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh, now that makes sense. It makes sense why I wasn't able to do this.
That's actually funny. Earlier, we were talking about that with someone, and we got married, and she's like, "Do you think I have ADHD?" And I'm like, "Yes." Like, that's a question? Like, yes, you 100% have ADHD.
Yeah.
So
then after I got out of the military, I had to go do an actual test, not like you tell them your symptoms test.
Mhm.
Like, you're doing an what's it called? I don't know what the test
Like
is
an
called.
all-panel test?
Yeah, like a panel test, but it's on a computer.
Oh,
Where
okay.
they're testing you on like your skills, what you remember, you're pressing buttons,
Okay.
and definitely on the ADHD.
I feel like
spectrum.
everyone has ADHD though. Like we're all just human.
I think it's weirder if you don't have ADHD.
I agree.
It's like, I can process a ton of things at once, and it can distract me. I don't know.
Well, also
I kind of like that.
as like hunters or as humans, right? Like biologically, we're programmed to like be on the alert for like predators and not die.
That's true.
So like we have to be like on alert. So
Yeah,
that's
squirrel.
like So like that's how we're programmed. So it's like if you're not like that, how can you just sit and be focused on like, I don't know, your straight path?
You know what I
That's
think
such a
about?
good point.
Sorry, my
You're
bad.
okay.
But I think about a lot of times people that are ADHD, you have people that are like, oh, you think too much. You're telling me I use my brain too much? Like that sounds kind of silly.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're overthinking that. You think too much. It's like, sounds like a gift to me. And if that's my viewpoint and other people don't see it that way, I'm like, and then I'll just be unaware of my burden. I like it.
I think it's a superpower. It's 100. I really do think it's a superpower. Like I really do. Like we call like some like crazy people. Like geniuses are crazy, right?
Oh, yeah, or we think that they have like special needs.
Yeah.
You know, like they thought, I think it was Einstein. They thought he was special needs. He like didn't even communicate with people.
I know you're
until
talking
he
about.
was like much older.
Yeah.
But,
I think Thomas Edison was like that too, where his like parents or the teacher thought he was like dumb.
Yeah, they were
And-
trying to get him out of school.
Yeah, and the teacher like wrote a letter to his mom, and then the mom was like, "No, my son is fine," and then he ended up being like a genius.
That's not fair either, because every mom is gonna say that. But it's like, listen to the moms. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah,
mom
yeah.
knows.
Mom's
Yeah.
the best.
Why do moms
so
always got to
true.
prove it?
So, well, the power of like a mom believing in you is one of the most powerful things, right? That's literally what birthed Kanye West. Like, have you ever watched the documentary?
I have not.
His like he was like obviously like ADHD, has all these like mental illnesses or whatever, and like he talks about how they try to put him in like the slow classes, and his mom would just be like, "Don't worry about that, Kanye, you're fine." Like it would just pour into him more and more, and then he started making music, and she would like love it and dance to it and like super like jive with it, and then everyone would call him crazy and stupid, and he was like, "My mom believes in me, I'm good."
Haters
And then
gonna
now
hate.
he's like, look at him now. Like, I mean, I know he has, don't get me wrong, he has his like flaws, right? Don't we all? But
we all do.
but like, I mean, he just because someone believed in him,
Yeah.
he was just able to, you know, take over the world to a degree. It's crazy.
That's pretty interesting. I think what's that other movie that we watched as a team? Actually, it was was it a basketball player?
Oh,
Was that no,
That was Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
I don't think I
His
watched that,
mom-
but I know what you're talking
okay.
about. It was when
Yeah,
because
his mom also believed in him, and she was actually the one that was in charge
of his deal.
of his deal.
Yeah. It's called Air.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah.
Oh, she had his back.
Yeah.
She's a businesswoman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
That's solid.
how about the soccer player that got married to that one girl, and then he put all his money in his mom's name.
Oh,
yeah.
I remember that was like power move.
That's
He
so
was playing
funny.
chess, not checkers.
Yeah. No, moms have superpowers. It's crazy. The power of love, right?
If we're gonna talk about superpowers, I gotta know, if you could have a superpower, what's the superpower?
Oh, dude, I've thought about this. Time travel.
Okay.
Time, like whatever, like Doctor Strange has, like his little thing. Is that time travel? Whatever it is. Time travel would probably be, yeah, time travel.
That'd be sweet.
Where'd you go?
Me, first thing I would do, I mean, probably just find a way to get rich, right? Just
Go back 30 years, invest in Google.
yeah.
Wait for Apple.
Go buy a bunch of Bitcoin or something, and then cash out at the right time. That's like the easiest. I know a lot of people. I don't know a lot of people, but I know people did that where they got really rich off like crypto, and they just don't know what to do with their money. But then again, it's like, do you really want to just go all to your head? Like, if you really just get rich, then you're not going to appreciate it, and then you're just going to kill yourself or whatever.
Yeah, it's not about. Oh wow.
Sorry,
We're there. We're there. We'll go there.
Well, I feel like I would just go especially if I'm too young, I would probably kill myself somehow.
Money doesn't lead to purpose, and if you're not mature to have it, then it'll lead to usually ego.
Your demise.
and-
Because
yeah.
why does the person get there? It was because of the journey. That
Yeah.
Everything that they did along the way that got them there. It's not just that they.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to time travel. You can fly,
I'm trying to think. Flying would be pretty cool.
but then you'd use it to gain money. You'd be like, "Yeah, come see my show. I'm gonna fly around." Like,
Well, okay, if I can time travel at this stage in my life, I think I would have the like mental capacity to not go crazy.
like right now, like you woke up and you're like, "I feel weird. I feel funny. Like I can go back in the future." Then
Yeah,
you'd
I
behave
would-
yourself.
What was the last thing you said?
You'd behave yourself.
I think so, because I mean there'd probably be slip ups. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't think it would be like to my demise.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be to my. But if this was, I would say if this was 2 years ago, it'd be my demise. If it was 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, it'd be my demise. But because even like one of our mentors even talks about how like they have so much money now. They don't say it like that, but they're like, imagine if we were in Orlando with all this money with our business partners. They're like, imagine what we could do, and they just had a podcast on the balcony instead.
Mm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It was Matt Sapala, John Mason, some of the other guys. They were there for the Volt.
Yeah.
And they had, like, obviously, a bunch of millionaires hanging out. And they're like, we could just go destroy Miami right now.
Yeah.
But we just want to hang out, have a cigar.
Quality time.
Yeah. So it's like at that point, you don't have that desire.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a mindset shift.
It is. And when you have all the money and you can realize that I have all this money and that's not what it was about, it's the tool and time is the currency, then the people that have all the money care more about the time. So they're just going to use that money to create a great environment to have quality time.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's like if we had a bunch of money, it's like, what are we going to do? Take a 10-day vacation? That sounds horrible.
You can only buy so many fast cars and houses, you know, set up the bloodline to receive the wealth and then create memories.
Spread the crusade. I think that's what's more fun.
Yeah.
That's what's more fun. Because, like, I mean, even, like, travel for a purpose, because it'd be cool to be on a yacht for, like, a day.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be, like, that'd be super fun. But then it's, like, I feel like even that gets tiring. Like, every day for how long, right? You got to, like, enjoy. You have to, like, work hard to get it. And then if you have just a bunch of fun, then it's, I don't know. Yeah, some people will disagree with me, but I don't care.
Well, it's interesting. We actually, like, ran the numbers on, you know, if someone's making, you know, X amount a year, how much are they making hourly? So by them taking off for 10 days, you know, how much did they, you know, maybe they blew 10, 15, 20K to go on the vacation, but by being absent from their mission and vision, what did it really cost them?
Yeah.
You know, by stepping away.
And you lost that momentum.
That's actually the real expense when you become that, you know, that valuable.
Yeah.
So, quick trips, fly in, have the memories, get back to it.
Yeah.
We spent some time on a ship together though. It wasn't a yacht.
Oh yeah. Okay. So let's get back to high school. Violet rebelled, and then you joined the military.
Yes.
That's where we were.
Yep.
And then, how old were you when you joined?
19. It was right after my 19th birthday.
Okay.
Actually.
How was that decision made?
So, I decided that. Okay. Backtrack. Freshman year of high school, I was in a horrible relationship, and I ended up failing every single class. Not even till I wasn't even at the end. I was like halfway through my freshman year. And I had a counselor that pulled me into her office and was like, hey, you know, I really think that you're not going to make it. You should probably get your GED.
Wow.
So I was.
Wow.
Yeah. Like,
do you have contact with that?
No, but I need to find out who she is.
We got to find this person.
I need to call that school. I bet you she's still working.
We should
there.
have her on a podcast.
We should. We should write her a letter.
Yeah.
School system stuff.
But yeah, she told me to get my GED. So at that time I was like, well, what am I going to do with a GED? I can't go to college. I can't do much. So the only option I really had was the military. So I was like, okay, I'll worry about that, you know, after I get my GED. I ended up staying in school. That's right after that, I ended up moving to Golden. So I left that school, moved to a different school, and had a counselor that actually believed in me. And was anytime I would
back to believing matters.
Yep. Anytime I would, you know, start missing class or I was not doing so good in school, she'd always come up with a new plan of how I can catch up. So she was helping me. She was playing the catch up game with me for 3 years.
Wow.
Well, like 2.5 years. And I ended up graduating. But my junior year, I saw my brother graduate Marine Corps boot camp. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do.
Oh, wow. So you wanted to be like your older brother?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
so
really
watched
cool.
him, and I was like, that's what I'm doing. So junior year of high school, I started going to, what are the...
Like pulley
yeah,
workouts?
they're like pulley workouts, like a workout once a week with the Marines and then other people that want...
Local recruiting office?
Yep, at your local recruiting office. And working out with the recruiting office. So I was doing that without letting my parents know. And then my senior year, I finally told them, I was like, I'm joining the Marine Corps. And that was something else. My mom was happy. My dad wasn't.
What did your dad want you to do?
I think that he, like, as a woman, he's very
He's traditional.
yeah, he's very traditional. So as a woman, he was thinking, you know, I'm gonna get married, go to school, be a doctor, lawyer, whatever. So it was always doctor, lawyer, or I don't know what the other one was.
Engineer.
Engineer, yeah. That's
Isn't
like
that how
that's the
you're
brown
probably-
path, yeah. Doctor,
Yeah,
lawyer, engineer,
yeah,
or you're
like,
a failure.
Something that's never gonna go away.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what was expected of me, but that's not what I ever wanted to do. So, my last 6 months of my senior year, I was actually living with my best friend in high school because my dad kicked me out
Okay.
for wanting to join the military.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then, how long into the military did you meet Tyler?
What year did we meet? 2017. So 2 years.
Yeah, I was at my 2-year mark. You were in a little longer than me, though. I hit my 2-year mark on the boat.
15. Yeah, 16, 17, like 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's when we met.
How did y'all meet? What was the first interaction like?
You want it?
This is your story, baby.
It's a good one. It's a good one. So,
I don't think I know y'all's first interaction.
oh, cool. All right, I'll try and do the short version because I can talk about
Well,
this
no,
one.
dude, I'll do the short version.
So we are on a Navy ship. We're on the Bonhomme Richard, giant ship. It holds a few thousand military members. The Marine Corps didn't have like ships, so we would catch rides with the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out Navy, thank you for your boats. And so you also got to think a lot of men in the military, not as many women in the military, and definitely not a lot of women in the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
And so the guy to girl ratio on these boats was like, I mean, not very impressed, not good.
Yeah, because you always
ratios.
hear things about the Navy. I'm not gonna mention, but it's just a bunch of seamen, right?
There's a bunch of dudes on a boat. You're right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dudes on the boat.
That's exactly what it is.
A lot of seamen.
Yeah.
A lot of seamen. But so there's maybe like a couple hundred women. What'd you say? Like,
Yeah.
Thousands of men, 100 women.
yeah. And so I went on that deployment. I wasn't looking for anything. I was just like, cool, deployment with the boys. Great. I was what you call a boot for like a year, and a boot means like you haven't deployed. So pretty much, we cussing on here? Cause
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So it was pretty much like my senior's bitch. Like they tell me to go be somewhere, do something. They say, hey, I don't like your hair, shave it off. Cool, you got it. Hey, go punch that one in the face. Go do push-ups. Go on, like we're going on a hike. We're gonna run until you puke. So I got to do that for a whole year because when I got to the fleet, my seniors were still on deployment. So we did 1 year workups, which is when you're prepping for the deployment. So I was just excited to be on deployment and kind of earn some respect there. But I'm still supposed to hate my life for like the first half of it. I didn't. I always had a good time, right? But so I saw her, and I'm like, okay. I was in the infantry, so like we didn't see women like in our area of base. 3-5 San Mateo. Shout out to the boys. But yeah, so just even seeing a woman in uniform was interesting, and then she's smoking hot. So I was like, what is that? What is this? What's going on? And then I'm kind of like, we've been on the boat a little bit, so I'm like, kind of can be like beer goggles.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, is she really that attractive? Or like, do I need to get on land? Because I was super
like,
confused.
am I hallucinating?
Yeah, I'm like, what in the world? And so I'm seeing her around. She's just doing her thing. And I'm like, okay, I got to be memorable when I meet her because there's so many guys, they see what I'm seeing. And so I can't be the same as everyone that meets her. And so I was like, cool, I'll run into her at the gym. She's with her girl hutch. They're trying to get a workout in. I'm like, cool, I'll just sit with her at lunch. I go, there's already people sitting with her at lunch. And I'm like, crap. So I see her at the smoke pit. There's nothing to do on the boat.
How long have you been watching her?
Like a few days. I was
Okay.
looking for my opportunity. But like you're on the boat. There's so many people. So like you can go a day or two without seeing the person.
Yeah.
So maybe a week. But I had seen her like a couple times. I was like, if I see her at the cafeteria, I'm going to sit with her. And then I don't know if it was a day or two later before I saw her there. And then I saw there was people sitting next to her already. So I'm like, okay. And so I'm like, okay, I'll find my opportunity. And so there's nothing to do except like work out or like hang out in your berthing, which is like where you all sleep, and that sucks. It's just a bunch of like, it's just Marines stacked on Marines in these bunk beds. So I was like, cool, I'm gonna go work out 2 days till I run into her, and I see her at the smoke deck, smoke pit. So that's like kind of like a free place to go. You go meet people from all over the world that are serving the country, figure out what they're doing here. Lots of cool like connection time with some of the people on the boat, because there's nothing to do. You're just floating out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, everything's on schedule. You know, when you eat is on schedule. When you can use the gym is on schedule. So that was a cool time to just kind of get to know people and stare at the open ocean. And I saw her there, and I was like, okay, I just saw her there. I'm gonna just chain smoke till I run into her again. So I am like hanging out at the smoke pit now. And I see her, you know, like the next day, a couple days later or something like that. And my last name's Kelkamp. It's a weird one. If it's on a roster, people look at it funny before they try to say it. And I had a staff sergeant, hilarious guy. And, you know, he's reading through, and he's like, he sees my name and he just goes, Kit Kat. I was like, Raw Staff Sergeant, you know, that's me. And so if I introduce my name as Kit Kat, women love chocolate. So she will remember Kit Kat.
I got you.
So she was in a different uniform because she was in a fighting class. I pretended I didn't know that. But you wear your we were all wearing Woodlands, which is the green uniform. She was wearing her tan uniform, her deserts, which you only wear like basically like your off season if you're in like a fighting class. So if it gets torn, you can send it in to get repaired without having to be like out of uniforms. So I see her wearing deserts. I'm like, cool, that's easy. I'm just going to ask her why she's wearing that, introduce myself as Kit Kat so she remembers me, and then probably sign up for her fighting class. And then like run into her there. I thought I was pretty good at working out, running fast. You know, I was pretty decent at like the fighting classes and stuff. So I was like, cool, like we'll become friends there, but maybe I'll like win her over a little bit, you know, just thinking like a Marine, I guess. But yeah, so, you know, what did you think of all of that? Did you think I strategized?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, so, exactly.
So you went up to her. Yeah, I want to hear how you went up to her, like the interaction.
Like, hey, why are you wearing your deserts?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm doing the McMap class right here. He's like, oh, and then the next day he was on that course.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't think of it as like he joined because of me. I was just like, oh, it's nice to see you again.
That's how you have to do it with girls, though. You gotta like just slowly start seeing them everywhere.
Yeah.
And then they get familiar with you. And then, yeah. That's how that's so funny.
Yeah. So I signed up, and when I really, really knew it wasn't just like I kind of had a crush, like I thought she was like, you know, she might qualify for a real deal, is we were in the class, and I'm like, cool, we do warm-ups. You know, we got to get everybody warmed up so they're not stiff if people are getting tossed around and everything. So they were going to have us like run, do push-ups and sit-ups and all that stuff. And I'm like, cool, like there's like maybe 20 Marines on the class. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to save a little energy here. And then when we fight, I'll be able to, you know, beat everybody up. It'll be good. And so we're doing these warm-ups, and I'm like watching my back, and she's like on my ass, like right there. And so I'm giving it 100% during these warm-ups, because if I don't, she will beat me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, whoa, I feel some mixed emotions right now. You know, we didn't have any women in our unit also. So like there's always been this, not always, but like there's guys that don't want to believe a woman can be faster, smarter, stronger than them. And there's like, you know, chest pounding. And so it was just cool to see it. I was like, yo, she could smoke, you know, most of my unit the way she's doing this. And so then we're about to get into fighting, and they're like, okay, last warm up, we're going to go 2 minutes. You fight 2 minutes or until someone taps. And they're like taking volunteers. And she calls me out. She's like, you want to fight? And I was like, yeah, like again, you just threw like a total curveball at me, because now I'm like, yo, what if she can really like fight? Like, I don't know what she trains, like, you know, jujitsu, like what's going on? Because it was so confident. And I was like, cool. Like, am I supposed to tap her out? Can I not tap her out? Like, what is this? And it stayed a mystery because they stopped the workout before we were going to be next, and then they changed the workout. So I'm just like, this girl's awesome. And so pretty much after that, I mean, we were inseparable. You know, we went and ate together. When we got time off, we were in Australia together. So that was super cool. We even went on a training op in Australia where there was like hundreds of Marines sent in different areas to simulate, you know, setting up position. And we ended up being right by each other.
It's destiny.
Yeah. So I'd walk like maybe 30 yards and go like hang out with my boat boo. So like I have seniors now that are like, they're mad because I'm not hating my life on deployment. And I'm also with Smoke Show at the boat. Everyone wanted to know her. That's, you know, my girl now, no title, but, you know, it was obvious. And so it was really funny because half the seniors are like, now they want to be buddy-buddy with me. They respect it, which I would too. But then the other half is kind of like, they're mad, but they, like, what? Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So it was a cool experience for sure.
What was it like being like the girl on the boat? Is everyone hitting on you?
Yeah.
So and then why did you? What made Tyler separate? Because you called
nice.
Tyler out.
Yeah, I did.
Because you picked he picked you first, but then you also accepted.
I guess you're right.
Because everyone's hollering at you, but you what was those situations like? You're just ignoring everybody.
Like, honestly, I was kind of oblivious to when guys were hitting on me.
Are you sure?
So I had my friends that would tell me, because I was like, oh, like.
Yeah, you had a squad with you.
Because I'm working with guys for years.
Okay.
So I just thought, you know, they were just trying to be my friend. Unless it was like blatantly obvious. I had one guy. It'd be really funny if he sees this.
What happened?
I was standing in the line for the chow line, which was all the way around the boat, right? So you have to stand in line to like get your plate and then put food on your plate. And I'm a lance corporal, which is I'm an E3 in the Marine Corps. I had a E5, corporal sergeant, E5 in the Marine Corps come up to me, which is like, we're supposed to be separated. They're the non-commissioned officers and we're lower enlisted Marines. But he comes up to me in line and gives me a paper. He's like, hey, like, I have my phone number and stuff on here. Never met him. Like, he told me his name. And it had his phone number, email, Facebook, Instagram. So unless it was like that obvious, I really thought people were trying to be my friend.
Got you. So that's one situation, and then you're making a lot of friends. Is your squad girls or is it guys?
There was only 3 of us, and the rest is guys.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were like the first batch of female Marines to go into this job field.
Go into your MOS a little bit.
Yeah. So I was a low altitude air defense gunner. It's a combat support MOS, which is just a military job. So we didn't have a lot of females. I was one of the first wave of females.
Wait, so you're a gunner?
Yeah,
so
low altitude air defense gunner. So
what does that mean?
We shoot Stinger missiles, shoulder fired weapons to take down enemy aircraft.
Oh, okay,
ground defense.
I'm like all my like knowledge of this is related to Call of Duty.
Yes,
so I'm like
picturing. They actually have Stinger missiles on.
No, I know what a Stinger is now. Yeah.
And that's what I did.
Got you. That's super cool. That's super cool.
So we didn't have a lot of women, and there was only 2 other women with me on that deployment from my unit.
Cool. So are women like designated to do a specific job? Not like you know what I'm saying? Because
it was before, I think 2015. There were some jobs that didn't allow women in them. But I think for the most part now it's almost every job in the military is open to women.
She was like the first wave to pass the requirement to be able to go be in that job.
Oh wow.
And so
that's badass.
Yeah. Her and 2 other women passed together, and then there was
2 ahead of me. They were the class ahead of me. But
cool.
I was like we were the first wave. Got in there like a couple months after them.
So you can imagine some of the ego check.
Yeah, they didn't like us.
Yeah.
They didn't want us there.
Who's they?
The guys in my job. Most of them were not accepting because they have been in that job for 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
And up. So they were like, oh man, now we have to deal with women. Now we have to watch what we say. Now we have to act different, treat them different.
They created that reality for them.
They created that, yeah.
Shout out to the few that were real ones. You
Yeah.
got a couple solid homies out there.
Yeah, no, I have some.
Some of y'all are
homies
punks.
What did you think of Tyler when he came up to you?
I was bald, by the way, when I came up to him.
Okay.
No.
I was like, okay, he's really cute, but my self-esteem was really low, so I was like, yeah, there's no way that like he's gonna want to be with me.
So like you were interested, but you just didn't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was like, he's a good-looking, very nice guy.
Okay. And then when you saw him at the fight studio or whatever, well, and then what happened? Why are you working out so hard next to him?
That's just how I was.
Okay.
As like I said, as being one of the few military or Marines in my job field, it was almost like I felt like I always had to prove myself. Like
Gotcha.
I had to be faster, stronger. Like you really do. You have to kind of work a little bit harder than the other males just to keep up with them.
Yeah.
What was the required amount of pull-ups a woman had to do for a perfect score for the physical test?
So when I first joined, it wasn't a requirement to do pull-ups. It was the flexed arm hang.
And then it switched to pull-ups.
And then they changed it to like,
I want to say 8.
I don't remember, like 5?
How many did men have to do?
21.
And then it switched to 23.
No, it didn't switch to 23.
Oh, okay.
It stayed at 21.
It's interesting that you have the men's one memorized and not the women's memorized. Because you would do what?
I did 23.
Yeah, you
Yeah, that was the most I ever did.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because if she beat men, and they're like, well, you didn't have to do as many pull-ups.
Yeah.
So she's like, I'll do the
I
men's
just never wanted
pull-ups.
them to have something to say to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, people always have something to say.
Yeah, for sure. That's interesting.
But
Okay. So
she's a badass.
Oh, well, we all know.
Yeah.
We know. We know. The world's going to know.
Yeah.
So, okay, Tyler, I want to talk about your upbringing now, leading up to the military. So, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in McKinney? Because we met in McKinney.
Yep.
So, you born and raised in McKinney?
Yep.
And then explain how you were brought up, because we know Steve and Pam. We know Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
They're the sweetest,
They're some
funniest,
good
coolest people in the world.
Yeah.
Like, they are, like, fun to hang out with, a great time.
Yep.
What was that like growing up?
Blessed with some really cool parents. Man, it was good. My dad worked. My mom was a stay-at-home mom for most of my childhood. And I mean, it was cool. I was the middle child. I had an older sister, a younger sister. I was, how do I put this? I kind of did what I wanted, but I was a good kid. I was a nice kid.
You definitely did what you wanted.
Yeah.
You did what you wanted.
I did.
Like in
Still
class.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was.
You would do things, and I'm like, only Tyler could get away with that. Like, only Tyler could get away with that.
Yeah.
Like, it was so funny. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Yeah, it was. And I don't really know where that rebelliousness came from. I just never. I always felt like something was funky about like the right way.
The rules, right?
Yeah, the rules.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It just like, I'd hear like, you should do this and you should do that. And I kind of would question where I'm getting that information from. And they weren't really where I wanted to be. So I was like, why would I listen to your rule book when it's not doing, like, I'm seeing the result of what you're saying is the rule, and I don't want that same result, so I'm not going to do that rule.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to go figure it out, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I don't know.
Who was Tyler in high school?
Who was Tyler in high school?
Who was Tyler Kelkamp in high school?
Man, I was trying to figure out who I was. So I was a skater kid for a long time. Middle school, anyone that knew me in middle school, skinny jeans. I learned I had Justin Bieber hair my freshman year. I didn't know who Justin Bieber was yet, but someone was like, you have Justin Bieber hair. And I was kind of like, no, this is my hair. Like, I'm not trying to be whoever that is. But, yeah, so I was a skater kid. I was in a relationship that wasn't very healthy. I kind of gave it my all, but going through middle school, high school, things change, people are learning, we're learning how to be ourselves and how to treat people and stuff like that. So lots of lessons learned along the way. And when I was in that relationship, I pretty much got lost in it. I stopped skating with the boys. That took full priority. If I didn't have a ride, I'd take my skateboard, like hours of just like pushing to get there. So like I was pretty much kind of like whipped is what I pretty much got to, like, and I was kind of blind to it. But then when I realized that wasn't for me, like my future, it was pretty far down the road. And so when I got out of that, I wasn't really in the skating scene anymore.
Can you do a kickflip?
I could probably still do a kickflip though. Okay. I mean, can I have a few tries?
Yeah. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, I could do it. If you gave me some time, I could definitely do it. But and that was kind of like the rule of respect. You meet a
100%.
Skater, it's like, well, can you kickflip? They're like, I can do a shove it. You're like, whatever, bro. Go back to the skate park. But I didn't really know who I was after that. And so that's when I actually met. So I'm boys with Jacob. So Jacob Eisenberg, I used to skate with him back in the day, and he had kind of switched into like bodybuilding. He was a hard worker. He worked with his dad, selling cars. And so I had a lot of respect for Jacob. Always thought of him as like a good, genuine person. And when I got out of that relationship, I connected with him and started going to the gym with him and spending time with him. That's when I met the Prevost brothers. I met them at different times at the gym, liked them both. And then I got invited out to their land. So they had a cool piece of property out there, and really just kind of like jumped in with those guys, really quality guys. They helped me kind of figure out who I was as I navigated, being like a young man trying to figure out who he is. So super important guys in my life. And school, wasn't a big fan of school. So I would test the waters there, like, hey, you need to do this or you need to do that. I'm like, I could also skip and then do it later and still pass. So I would kind of do that. Not saying do that, but that's kind of what I did. Kind of just to prove it to people that said you can't do that. That's always what it was. It was always like, yes, I can. And you can too, I'll show you. But yeah, so there was that. Everyone said you should go to college. So when people would ask me, oh, what is your plans? I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go to school. But that was kind of like just to fill the slot of what everyone is supposed to say. And that felt weird too, because I'm like, that's not me being genuine. But I also don't know what I want to do. So I'm just saying an answer they want to hear so that they don't feel weird about what I really want to do and what I really want to be. And so I kind of justified it with like, well, I don't like school because I'm required to take these classes that some of them I don't really care about and I know I don't see a future in it. But college, I can go learn whatever I want. So I was like, cool, I'm going to go learn some cool stuff. And the stuff I wanted to get into, at the time I thought architecture was cool. And there was a few other things, but when I was going to sign up, they're like, oh, you need prerequisites for those classes. And I was like, okay, like, what does that look like? And they're like, well, you need to do this one and then this one. So you could do that class your junior year. And I'm like, so you're telling me for 2 more years I got to do stuff I don't want to do just so I can take a gamble on maybe doing something I may or may not enjoy 2 years later and then potentially have to course correct from there. I'm good. So had a crazy idea actually to move to Ecuador with a couple buddies and start basically a home building company out there. And we're like, cool, we just need some capital. Let's go do oil field work for, 6 months or a year.
Hang on. Before you go into that, what was the craziest thing you did in high school? At school, because you did some stuff.
Cody Hines. So we had a friend Amanda. What's up, Cody? We had a friend Amanda who got on a program to graduate early, and so senior year you could pay to have like a painted parking spot, and it was like front row. And so Amanda had one, but she graduated early. And I guess at some time along the way, she had told me I could park there and had told Cody he could park there. And Cody and I both were like the guys that showed up like 2-3 minutes before the bell. So like it was a battle. Like every other day, one of us would pull it, like seriously, half the time we'd be like waving as the other one had to go then park at the back of the lot because every other spot's taken. And it was literally like, if you didn't get that spot, we were late. So I hope that we've both been working on our habits, because those aren't good habits. But yeah, so like I had it in my head like, no, like that's my spot now. So like he'd park there and I would prank him. So me and a couple buddies had gone around, shooting birds with BB guns. We were going to throw them into this ditch where hogs were coming in, and so we could go hog hunting. It just sounds so weird now talking about like what an interesting plan, right? But yeah, so basically I had this crate where I'd killed a couple birds, and so Cody was in my spot that morning, and so I zip tied like a couple dead birds to his Jeep antenna in the parking lot. And he didn't think that was very funny, but
just dead birds.
Yeah, it sounds pretty twisted. I'm not a murderer, but yeah, it was interesting to watch him walk out to it.
That's funny. Did you videotape it?
I have a photo of it.
Okay.
Still on his white Jeep.
Yeah, I remember the white Jeep. I remember that vividly. Okay, so back to the oil fields.
Yeah, so we went out to the oil fields. I went out there with a good buddy of mine, Zach.
Zach Tarrant?
Yeah.
I remember Zach.
Yeah.
He was crazy too.
Wild guy.
He was
if
crazy.
you asked him his craziest thing he did in high school, man, he'd have a list.
Yeah.
He'd fill the whole hour talking about that. Great guy. So yeah, we just kind of bet on ourselves. We weren't digging college. So I had a truck and I had like $72 or something. And we're like, let's just go. We're just going to go get jobs and it'll be great. And so we went, didn't get jobs right away. So we were doing like odd jobs, like Craigslist, like helping people move to get, $50, $100.
Where did y'all go to?
We went to Odessa, Midland area.
Okay.
And I mean, the way the oil field was going at that time, it was like 2013, 2014. We were hearing about, there's a bunch of money out there. So we're like, cool, let's just go do that. And we get there and, we committed, we said bye to our families, like, hey, we're going to go do man stuff. See you later. And, we didn't get the jobs and we're like, we're not going home. So we lived in my truck. I mean, yeah, we lived out of my truck for like a month and we're just doing random jobs. We rocked the homeless life for a little bit. We got a dog named Dakota, found her, awesome dog. So yeah, it was just two dudes and a dog living in a truck together for like a month. And found out later, like my best friend growing up, Kyle, he had a family member that lived out there. I think it was one of his grandmothers. And so they actually let us live in a trailer that they had. So then we had a trailer. We're like, cool, that bought us time. Like, we're good. Let's find jobs. And so we ended up finding jobs working as drivers with Tiger Industrial. So we would basically drive out to different rig locations. They'd be renting equipment from us, anywhere from like basic hoses to like rig vac systems, which like clean up the oil field area, the rig area. And so we would drive out, help them set it up, drive back. We actually lived on the work yard. We ended up living on the work yard in like these bomb-proof Connex boxes. They're like $70,000 and we had them there for rent and they let us live in some. So one was like a bunkhouse and one was like a kitchen, and cool experience, man. But yeah, I mean, we were working like Christmas morning. I worked like a 36-hour shift. So like that was wild. I was like hallucinating, crazy stuff. But yeah, it was a good experience. Zach and I have a lot of interesting life experience out there and memories.
You gonna share one? What about? I think I know which one. You gonna share that one?
Not without Zach's permission.
Oh, okay, fine.
But yeah, we had some interesting times out there for sure. And yeah, so we worked there for a while, and the friend of ours that had the connection in Ecuador, which was kind of our connection to get into the home building industry out there. There was already a company out there he was tied to. He kind of bailed on us with the whole plan. And so we no longer had that plan, but we went and we, learned some good stuff. We figured out we can go figure it out on our own. And that was really good for us. And so when we came back out this way, I was like, you know what? I feel like I went and stepped into like a more developed version of myself as a man, and I really, really valued that a lot. And so I was kind of thinking like, what's next? Like, I'm not here to just get a job. Like, I like this. Like, how do I develop further like who I am as a man and as a person that has good character? And I was like, you know what? Like, I had kind of considered the military to pay for college back when I was thinking I needed to go to college. And so I was like, you know what? I had a buddy named Kevin that always talked about Marines were, you know, they're the tip of the spear. They're, you know, if you're joining the military, you join the Marine Corps because they're badasses. And like, if you really want the military experience, that's the branch you pick. So I was like, well, that sounds like that would give me more of what I'm looking for. And so I also had kind of a sense of like, if there's conflict going on, I think I owed it to myself to figure out if I was really like about it. So like, if someone was going to go, it should be me so I can experience that. And so so that's when I joined the Marine Corps. I was 20. I turned 21 in boot camp, and went over to 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, where I started getting trained up, and then I met her on my first deployment.
Whenever you were going to the oil fields and you weren't able to get a job, what were you feeling like?
Honestly,
were you mad? Were you sad? Were you like frustrated? Were you okay? It sounded like you were living the dream when you told the story.
Yeah.
So like I didn't sense any point of you felt down when it didn't work out.
To be honest, I really enjoyed the experience. So like I'm a highly optimistic person. So even during the hard stuff, like I'll tell this story. Zach wrecked my truck the day we had gotten the jobs. He took my truck out and he wrecked it, and the next day was our first day of work. And even then I went out there, I saw he had smashed it up pretty good, and he thought I was gonna like, he's like, dude, you can punch me in the face, like I don't know what you gotta do, but you have the right to do it. And I was just kinda like, no man, like we just got jobs, like we'll figure something out later, like it's cool. But during the hardship of it, there was a time, so like my heater didn't work, and it went into winter while we were still homeless. And so there was a time, and I'm not saying go do this, but there was a time like we didn't have money, and it was cold, like we were getting cold. And so we were like, okay, we need to get some jackets. So we were like scouting out like a place where we could each take a jacket. And so long story short, you end up taking some jackets during a time where we didn't really feel that we had a different way of going about it. And we're walking down the street playing kick the can on the side of the road because we didn't have jobs yet, and we didn't want to just sit in a truck all night. So yeah, him and I kicked the can all night, and like that's a great memory.
But you didn't answer the question. How'd you feel?
It was a rush, man.
It was a rush.
Yeah, like it was every man needs to go on a journey to seek who he is.
Okay.
And so it felt like I was trying to discover who I was that whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who am I through adversity? And like my whole life I've always had kind of like, people would call it luck, but I think I have always appreciated the experience. So if I can appreciate every experience, I can find good in every experience, which leads to good things happening. And so, you know, I get the job easily, or I find a friend that connects me to someone I've been needing to meet. Like, people call it luck, but if you're stacking these, you know,
like relationships, connections.
Yeah, if you're stacking these experiences as like you're getting value out of every experience, it'll lead to more experience that leads to more value. And if you're looking at a win as a win and a loss as a learned lesson, it's either I'm winning or I'm learning, then there's not a loss unless you just stop right there.
Yeah.
So us deciding, hey, we're not going back until we get the jobs, it was already decided we're not going to lose. We're just like, it's still loading, right? Like buffering. You know, it was still on the loading screen with that chapter of our life. And so, you know, we got the jobs. We made the money. you know, and so didn't have much to show for it because we made all the money and we were still young and dumb. But what I came back with was that experience that I really appreciated every part of it, you know. So yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of like a time where I was low, you know, but we were just set on not going home like losers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because even in the Marine Corps, you're talking about when you were your senior's bitch or something, you were still fine.
oh yeah.
Like it sounds like they were pissed off because you weren't mad.
Yeah, I mean, even in that, like, if they're hard on you, it's because they see something in you, right? Like, at the end of the day, like, whether we went to combat or not, we were training to go if we got called, and they're figuring out who they can trust, and so like, it's better to be, you know, getting some love from them. In whatever way that is, because you know they're testing your character, and if you have character leaks, they're going to help you find them, and then you can sharpen yourself. And yeah, so I mean, it was good. I did not like when I'd grow my hair for like a couple weeks and then they'd be like, no, never mind, I don't like it, shave it, because that was something I didn't like. That made me walk around, so that would make me mad. That would definitely piss me off. Yeah, because I was bald a while. And then they were like, you guys can grow your hair. But then someone messes up something that has nothing to do with you. And then they're like, no, you're going to be bald too.
Yeah.
Because your peer messed up. So it's to get us to start learning.
Accountability.
To correct our. Yeah, it's like, you don't get to let your boy
hold
slip.
your sidelines accountable.
Yeah, so it was good. But you see it better once you're out of it. You see it then as like messed up or something. But you're like, this is a pretty effective method of getting people to, you know, be effective in making adjustments.
That's really interesting. Okay, so then y'all met in the Marine Corps. When did y'all decide to get married? How far in were y'all?
So we got married about 6 months. 6 months into your pregnancy?
No,
So we can't just brush over that.
I was gonna let y'all.
So let's fill you in real quick. So Violet and I met on the ship. We knew each other for a few months, maybe like 2 months, 2-3 months before we actually found out we were gonna be having a baby.
True. When did we? I'm sorry, I'm trying to map it out in my head with the timeline now.
Yeah. So we were on the boat for about 3.5 months, 4 months total. So
In May, right? No, June, July, August. Anyways, yeah.
if you got to
3
pick the
months.
month,
Sorry,
I'm lost
I'm being
on that.
technical.
Yeah.
All right, so y'all were hanging out for a couple months, and then
Yeah.
You're pregnant.
I was pregnant
with Aiden.
with Aiden 2 months before. No, 2 weeks before we were gonna go back to Japan.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, so flew out to Japan, got on ships. We're floating in the ocean, stopped off in Australia a few times, made a baby together. High five, great job. And so we get back to, you know, she lets me know, you know, hey, I'm late. I'm like, we need to have a conversation. And so we talk about it, and she goes and gets seen. And, you know, on the boat, you don't have, you know, internet connection or anything like that. So it's essentially kind of like a landline, but on the boat. It's like a boat line.
Mm-hmm.
And you could call different rooms. And so she rang my room and let me know that she was pregnant. And my whole world just stopped. Because I'm looking in this room, like there's like 200 guys that live in the berthing, and it's 4 bunk beds high. So like you can't even sit in your bed.
Yeah.
Like the beds are like, the gap is from that shelf to that shelf.
Yeah.
So like you like roll into your bed. And so it's just like a crazy, and these guys have been on the boat for 2 months, you know, with nothing to do. So like I look around, like everything's slowed down.
Yeah.
And I see guys like fighting each other. I see guys like going over like weapons knowledge. I see guys somehow playing Xbox on the boat. I don't know how they were doing that. And so I just see all these guys just like living in the moment, just with the boys. Nothing can faze them, and my whole world just changed, like right there. And I'm like, cool. So we should meet up. And I'm thinking, like, who can I tell this to? Because I don't know if we're in trouble or something, because we're on a deployment. And so I'm trying to kind of process, like, my whole world just changed. I need to speak with someone that can be mature, take this in, and, like, respond in a way that I also need them to respond, because I was 23, maybe 22, and
That's crazy.
yeah. So you know,
That's
we're young.
insane.
I was 21.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's insane.
I had to have her, man. So
Hey, that's one way to keep her.
just locking it down. But yeah. So I'm looking around for a second, and then I'm like, I know who I need to tell, and it was Zach Stoffer.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I go over to Zach, and I was like, he's a sergeant at the time. I was a lance corporal at the time. So I'm like, you know, Raw Sergeant, you know, can we talk for a minute? And so we kind of go out. We like open this hatch where there's like, I don't even know what room it is, but it's just this little 10 by 10 room. And I'm like, hey, you know, her maiden name's Parshava, and she went by AP. And so I was like, hey, you know, AP is pregnant, and I'm gonna be a father. And you know, he like shock factor, and he goes, bro, congratulations. And I was
That's
just
such
like,
a Zach thing to say in that.
I was like,
He's just happy for you.
"Whoa." Yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, thank you. I was like, am I in trouble? And he's like, no. And like, he's been on deployments before. So I was like, awesome. Like, I don't know. I was just like, wow, like, congratulations, reassurance. Thank you, bro. Real one. And so we go meet, and, you know, we're talking about it, and we didn't talk titles about like what we were. You know, everyone knew we were something. We obviously felt chemistry, like we were inseparable, but we didn't really talk about what was next. Like after we got back home, we were just really just living in the moment together the whole time. And so she's like, you know, hey, you know, I'm having this baby, and I just want you to know, like, you can say it if you have the words for it.
Yeah, I just let him know, like, my decision was already made that I was going to have the baby. And I'm not going to be the person that tells you you have to stay. I'm not going to be the person that tells you you have to pay
Power move.
child support.
Power move.
She plays
It's a
chess.
power
bro.
move.
I said,
It's like you could be a deadbeat father if you want.
I said, if you want to be in our life, you can make that choice now. If you don't, you can have that choice. Like, you have that choice as well. But I've already made mine. So I left all cards on his table, and that's when he was like, all right, well, I'm gonna be a part of your guys' life. And then I was like, it was so funny.
Your guys' she's not from Texas.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. Yeah, I would not say you guys is. It's y'all.
So many Z's I picture in there. You guys.
You guys is.
I usually say y'all. I don't know why. I think
Because you're speaking in, you're thinking back in time.
yes.
you've changed.
That's so
exactly.
That's such an interesting thing.
Yeah, because I usually say y'all.
No,
I don't-
you do say y'all,
Yeah,
but
I
like
do.
now that you're thinking and you're going back in time, so now your language is changing to that time. That's so crazy. That's a whole different
Yeah.
psychological
I didn't even
thing.
notice. When did I even say that? I don't know.
That's so
Anyways.
funny. We'll definitely get a section of that cut out because I want just that in the video.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So where did I leave off?
You're gonna be part of you guys' life.
You left the cards on my table saying that I can be a part of you guys' life.
What'd you do, Tyler?
I said I'd love to be a part of y'all's life.
Okay, so then y'all continue at life as normal, and then how did y'all end up getting married?
Well,
Did you were pregnant?
First of all, like he said,
Oh,
we
go ahead.
didn't even talk about titles.
Okay.
But 2 weeks into our relationship, I had told one of my friends, Pepin, I told her, I was like, I could see myself spending the rest of my life with this guy. Like 2 weeks in, I told her that.
I feel like
She
such
still,
a catch right now.
She still brings that
2
up to this
weeks.
day. But after we found out we were pregnant, we talked a little bit about marriage. I'm like, please don't propose to me just because I'm pregnant. because that would happen a lot in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Like, you would see it, someone would get pregnant, then they're married, then it leads to divorce because they only got married because of a child.
Marriage
That's
was
not
fast.
just
And
that's
that's
not
not
just
just the military.
yeah, that's everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was like, please, like, don't feel obligated to get married to me. You're gonna be a part of our life. That's fine. And then I was like, do you even like me?
That's so funny.
He's like,
Yeah.
yes, I like you. So
Yeah.
then that's when, like, we started dating. 3 months later, it was in December. I was flying from Colorado to Texas to go meet his family for the first time. I'm pregnant. I'm like 5 months pregnant at that time.
So you're showing.
Actually,
Little
not.
bump.
Yeah, it was
Little
like
bump.
a really baby bump.
Okay.
I was
Yeah.
still working out and
Yeah.
doing
Steve and
abs,
Pam knew?
So yeah, they did.
Okay. I feel like
Yeah.
Steve and Pam would be super supportive.
Yeah, actually,
yeah.
I met Steve in California. He flew out
Okay.
and came and visited, and that's when I met him. That's when we told them the gender. That I was
Okay.
gonna be a boy.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Cool.
that was really special.
Only 2 genders.
Yeah.
He was a boy,
Yes.
not a girl.
Makes sense. It's pretty logical. I'm in.
Facts.
Cut it, clip it.
I'm flying out to Texas to meet his family for the first time, and I had a pretty rough night the night before. I was dealing with some family stuff, so I'm like delirious by the time I get there. I'm pregnant, I'm tired, got in late.
We had taken leave, and so she had gone. Leave is like military time off.
Mm-hmm.
She had flown to Colorado to spend Christmas time with her family in
Yeah.
Colorado, and then flew over.
Did
to
your
Texas.
family know? Did your family know?
Mhm.
And then how did your family take it?
Honestly, I was a little nervous because my
Uh-huh.
dad is super traditional. And when I was a child, like young, preteen, he would always tell me, hey, if I ever find out that you're not a virgin before you're married, I'm not coming to your wedding and I don't want to see you in a white dress. So that's what I had in the back of my mind when I found out I was pregnant. Was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get shunned by my family. Like, now I have to choose, like, my family, this family, or that family. So it was an emotional roller coaster, and I waited, maybe 2 months before I actually told my parents. But I called my mom, and it's so funny because I used to joke with her all the time, be like, I'm pregnant. Just call her because I used to like to stress my mom. So when I
Whoa.
called her and actually told her that I was pregnant, she was laughing because she thought I was
You cried
lying.
wolf.
I'm like, no, like I'm seriously pregnant. And
Yeah.
she's like, oh my gosh, and she was happy and crying. And I told her I was scared to tell my dad. I called my dad, told him, and he was like, congratulations, I'm really happy for you. Which I did not expect that at all.
Wow. So that eased your mind.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
But backtrack to the story of when he proposed to me. I'm flying in tired, barely any sleep, and his dad's a photographer, so he's like, hey, we're gonna go to this art museum, and his mom's an artist. He's like, we're gonna go to this art museum, my dad's gonna take pictures, it's gonna be really fun. I'm like, okay, that's like nothing out of the ordinary. So we go there, his dad's taking all kinds of pictures of us, we're hanging out, and we're going into this room, and it's called the Infinity of Love, right? Infinity
Were you
of Love.
wearing that shirt?
I was wearing this shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's really cool.
Infinity of Love, and it's a bunch of pumpkins with mirrors, so it looks like it goes on for forever, but only 2 people are allowed in at a time. So we're waiting in line for our turn. We go in. I'm on Snapchat, like recording, because it looks so cool.
They
in
only
there.
let you in for like 30 seconds. Or
It's
I've
like
been in a room
minute.
like that. I know what you're talking about. I know
it's
you're
like
talking
a
about.
minute. They let you in for like a minute. And I'm on Snapchat and I'm recording and I like turn around and Tyler's on his knee with a ring. And my jaw, like all the pictures that Steve has of me, like my jaw is to my chest. I look ridiculous. But I was absolutely in shock. Had no idea that he was going to do that.
That's
no
so
idea.
funny. Steve
I
knew,
go-
though. Everyone knew,
Yeah,
right?
everybody
Okay.
else knew, because then after that we go back to his house and all his friends and family are there. That was the first time I met them.
Oh wow.
I bombarded her.
That's a good sign.
It was,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a good sign. It's like just go all out. If she
Yeah.
accepts you, then it's like, all right, you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when we got engaged. I literally went upstairs. I was so overwhelmed. I was just like crying. I was like, I don't know. I'm crying, but it was an awesome moment. And then not even a month later, a couple weeks later, we're back in California. And he comes up to me one day and he goes, hey, do you want to go get married? So we went to like a little church up in LA with two of our friends, Jess and Devin, and went and got married.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we
It
still
was
haven't
cool.
had a wedding though.
We got Whataburger after.
Yeah.
Oh, we
no,
got
not Whataburger. Sorry,
In-N-Out.
In-N-Out.
In-N-Out. Yeah.
I didn't know.
I like In-N-Out. I'm
was
an In-N-Out
super
guy.
In and out all the way.
I'm an In-N-Out guy.
Super cute picture of her in her wedding dress with her little belly, munching on a burger.
We gotta have a party.
We do.
We gotta have a party.
Yes.
I remember. I think we've talked about this, and I was like, "Oh, we gotta have a party."
Yeah.
Yeah, we're due for a party.
No, we're gonna have a party for sure.
Yeah. We're
Uh,
coming up on 6 years in January.
Yeah.
we're gonna have a party. We're
So
definitely gonna have a party. Okay.
We have to. We gotta
So y'all got
celebrate.
married, and then how long until y'all got out of the Marine Corps?
From marriage,
Yeah.
Got married in 18.
I did like 2 more years.
I did 3.
You can have a kid while you're in the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was interesting
I would-
because we were both in jobs where we would get called for training, where like you'd go to training for a month or 45 days, and then I'd go to training for a month. So like it was really interesting. Like,
Being a parent and then
Yeah.
going to training.
'cause I'd be like stay-at-home dad for a while. She'd be stay-at-home mom for a while, but like you're still an active duty Marine, so like you were still going to work. That was it. That was an interesting.
I was also the first pregnant woman in my job.
They had
So-
pregnant camis, like uniforms. Super cute. Big belly.
Yeah, I got promoted.
Yeah,
the
she
belly,
got promoted.
So I was
they-
marching with the belly.
That's so funny.
That's
That's
when you pick
so
up corporal.
funny.
Yeah, corporal.
yeah.
Those are some funny pictures.
What was it like being a parent? Or like going through that at like 22, 21?
For me, it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me, having a child. But it was also it just felt like not real.
Mm-hmm.
It's still sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have a whole kid? That's crazy. I still am like, I look at him all the time like, yo, like we made that.
Yeah.
Like we made that. So
That's
it's
super
been a
cool.
blessing. It was, I don't know if it was, obviously being a parent is hard and you're learning. But as soon as I became a parent, it was like diving deep into child development, like what stage he was at in development. Like I was so
You were
into that.
researching.
Yeah, I was
So-
Got you.
researching into that.
I would have raised him like he was raised by wolves if I didn't have her. Yeah.
Especially
It's
having
like go hunt for food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially having a boy and being raised in an environment where you do get spanked
Mm-hmm.
if you're not doing something right and like your emotional needs aren't met. I think that was very important for me to research child development so that I wasn't doing the same thing that my parents were doing unintentionally, as far as like not meeting his emotional needs or not meeting him where he's at.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we look at children and we don't understand that they really don't understand sometimes what we're trying to convey to them.
Mhm.
So
Y'all are really good parents.
thank you.
Thanks, man.
Like I literally watched what y'all do with Aiden, and I'm like, okay, that's what I got. I take mental notes. I literally take mental notes. I'm like, okay, I got to do something. Like, I don't go into detail, but I do take mental notes. Y'all do a really
Oh,
good
Cool.
job.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
And then on
really
top of
appreciate
everything
that.
else y'all do, like run 2 businesses. Yeah, y'all do a good job. I'm just gonna give y'all your flowers right
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
bro.
Yeah,
Appreciate
for
you.
sure.
Yeah.
now.
It's been a cool ride.
We're just getting started.
Yeah.
We're
Every day
just
being a
getting
parent,
started.
You're just like, oh, am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? So it really does mean a lot when like you hear it from
Oh,
other
compared to
people's
other parents I've seen, like yo, insane. But okay, so I think we're gonna slowly start wrapping up. Maybe we got like
Okay.
5-10 minutes because I don't want to I don't want to cut the time.
Yeah.
But we didn't even talk about. We're just getting out of the Marine Corps right now. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
But
So okay, what What can we talk about for 5 minutes without jumping into a whole nother category, right? I kind of want to stay on the Marine Corps. Okay, because y'all are a very unique couple in the fact that y'all are both Marines. Y'all are both like badasses. Y'all both have a good head on your shoulders. Y'all are both attractive. I mean, I can go on and on and on, right? So what was it like to be a couple in the Marine Corps, and what made y'all in common compared to everyone else? Because y'all connected with each other, it sounds like, almost immediately. It was, I see being with him the rest of my life. I love her. I'm marrying her. Like, it was immediate. What made y'all uncommon against everyone else on that ship?
That we actually, like, enjoyed spending time together. Like, it wasn't forced. We actually wanted to be together. I think that's for me.
Yeah. I agree.
I think there was a lot of things that made us uncommon.
Yeah.
We were both very driven, very competitive. So it was fun just competing with each other. Like, we made that fun.
What did y'all compete in? Fighting? Working out?
Working out. We trained together all the time.
Y'all still train together all the time?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she worked out every day. Even on her due date, she went to the gym with me.
I did.
On her due day?
Yeah.
Like the day you had a baby?
The day I was supposed to have my baby.
Oh.
So 40 weeks. Aiden came 6 days late.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
what do you do at the gym when you're pregnant?
Not a whole lot. 10 pounds.
Yeah.
There's some girls that do some crazy
You doing
stuff
sit-ups?
now. Oh, no.
Oh, you should have seen her try and put her shoes on. That's a
funny.
workout as it is.
But, yeah, I think there was a lot of things that made us uncommon.
What did y'all hate about the military?
That's not a 5-minute
We only
conversation.
got 5 minutes.
for
Yeah.
me.
It's like, wait a minute. That's
I know.
another
You know what's
show.
fun? No, okay. What's funny is me and Tyler would see each other periodically through like life, right? And one time I saw you at Kelly's. It was, I think you were back from deployment. You were still in the military. And I was like, "Oh, Tyler, what's up, man? How's the Marines? Da da da." And you were like, "I hate it. Don't do it." But you said it with a smile.
Yeah.
Like, you were like, you had that rush.
That's funny.
You were like, "Oh, I hate it. Don't ever join the military." Because I told you I was thinking about joining the military. Because coming out of college, I was like trying to find a job, and I was like, "Dude, I'm not gonna get a freaking job." And I was like, going into the military with a degree, I could do something really cool. And I just like, I love the military. I like that whole idea and concept of saving the world type thing. And I literally and I remember that to this day, because I was like, okay, Tyler said do not do that. And the way you said it with confidence and a smile, I was like, oh, he's seen some things. I was like, he's seen some things to where he was like, oh, I hate it. Don't do it, man. I promise you, don't do it. And I was like, whoa. I don't know. It was interesting.
It's a love-hate relationship, right?
Yeah,
but
I love
it's
it
not
too.
it's not that we hate the Marine Corps. It's
No, I
that there
understand.
are people in the Marine Corps that can make it, a make or break for someone.
So is it more about the people or the structure?
So it's a good question.
Because it sounds like you had fun, Tyler.
First off, when were you graduating? What year was that? What year would
College or high school?
like when we would have ran into each other, trying to get an idea.
This was probably, when did we graduate high school? 2013?
Yeah.
So, and then you went 2015 into the military, then 2 years later. So this is between 2015 and 2018, because I graduated 2018.
Okay, I got out.
So probably 2017, 2018.
Interesting.
You graduated in 2018?
My degree, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was I bald?
I can't remember.
Oh.
I can't remember.
That'll help me date a lot of things. I can't say that I hate it. There's a lot of, as you stand there longer, you can kind of start to see behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of incredible, highly capable people that are in the military.
Yeah.
Like, some of the most impressive people I've met were in the military. And so there is a lot of people you strive to gain characteristics that they have and that they show. Where you see this in a lot of places, is that there's people that ruin that. You know, they can't ruin those individuals, right? But, you know, you see people like the rank structure. If you're in long enough, you can get a lot of ranks. And so sometimes you have, you know, someone that isn't really, they shouldn't really be in the club, but they make it in the gun club. And then they don't seek self-improvement. They don't seek developing.
They're in their ways, but they have a title.
Yeah, exactly. And so that can start to happen. And since I've always came up as the guy that will poke at things to discover for myself what it is, I think I found that quickly. And so even coming up like newer to the fleet, I could see what seniors were full of shit and what seniors I was like, okay, like I could roll with you.
Yeah.
And so you're supposed to respect all your seniors because they're senior to you, but I couldn't do that because I'm like, you've just been here longer. You aren't someone I look up to. You're not someone I respect. And then you see it there first because you spend the most time there. You're like, okay, it is what it is. Like, that's going to happen. But then you still paint in your head that, like, they develop, they get better, and on the way up, it's better. But then you see higher ranking enlisted or officers that have the same habits or the same character flaws. And you're like, wait a minute. You're in charge of not only my life, but these men and women I've grown to care about, and you don't give a shit, and you're not capable of anything. So, like, you run into character flaws, like
Lives are at stake.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, and there comes a certain point where, like, you do get to a rank where it is more like, it can be a lot more like on yourself to be honest and have integrity. And you know, you run into someone that's 30, 40 pounds overweight. We're about to run a physical fitness test. You cheat on your score because you're of the rank to where you take score. And I catch you like, I'm like, whoa, what's that? And then even on my way out of the military is interesting too. And this happens with a lot of people. They buy into the best path for them. And then they spend their entire life selling themselves that is the truth, not just a belief. Like, that is a fact. This is the best path for me. And they sell themselves on that belief until it becomes their reality. And so when you are leaving the military, you're having to do like an exit interview with someone that has given their life to the military. So they believe that is the right decision.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to just exit. And then you get all this, like, it's a process to get out because you're getting all these walls in your way, and no one really wants to help you. Look, you have help. There are individuals that I was talking about earlier that have character, but a lot of the people are like so bought into this is the right way. They're almost like betting against you on your way out. They're like, oh, like, that's not a good idea, man. Like, you know, it's like, dude, like, I got it. We're good. So for my exit interview, I prepared for that. You know, I had a job lined up. I already knew what our plan was. Like, I was going to be moving back to Texas. I had a well thought out plan. He keeps me in there for like an hour. It's supposed to be like a 10, 15 minute thing just to make sure I had a job lined up and that I had some money set aside and this and that. And he's like picking and poking at it to the point where he had nothing on me. So he's like, are you invested in the stock market? And I'm like, yes.
Like, who cares? Like, what are we talking about?
But also, yeah, like it had just got like, what are we talking about, man? And so that was always interesting, is the ones that get super bought into it and believe they're the most right in the room.
They spent all those years. So if they go against it, they're gonna look stupid.
Yeah, like if my success proves that.
Yeah.
You know, what does that prove? So we love proving points. So that's all good.
Let's keep doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys. What do you want to say?
I just want to say one last thing.
Go ahead.
I had a bunch of memories flood back, and I definitely did party in high school.
Thank you for your confession.
Thank you for the honesty.
I say that before we got off.
That's so funny.
Okay.
But I love you guys, and this is the first of many because we're gonna we have so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Like we barely even started. So, and we're already an hour 30 in. So, I love you guys. Let's go get it.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Ara.
Skirt.
Love you.